Hello, my TikTok friends. I am back with another encouragement. I wanted to just come in and share with you that what God has for you is for you. I was sitting out on my porch this evening, and I was thinking about where I am right now. And I'm a school administrator. Been a school administrator for 8 years now. 5 years of that time as an assistant principal, 3 years as a principal. Just finished my third year, going into my fourth year as principal. And believe me when I say, I never thought I was even going to be in this position or in this job, but God. So let me tell you the story. So I think I mentioned it a little bit in one of my previous videos about how when you just let go and let God take care of things, how stuff falls into place. Well, this is one of those times. I know I shared about me buying my house. I shared that in a longer video, and so now I'm going to share about the job I'm in this video here. And so I had just finished my getting my principal certification. I had my master's degree in mathematics and education. I was working for at the district level in curriculum and instruction, and I finished getting my assistant principal certification. And so, of course, I started looking for assistant principal positions. I was, looking at the nearby districts in my area, and I was filling out applications. I was sending my resume and letter of interest to principals, and it was like crickets, like nothing. I had sometimes I didn't get an answer back, and then there was a few principals that was like, oh, we already hired for that position. It's just still on the website, or we just finished all of our interviews. We're not interviewing anymore. Um, and then I did get called for one interview at a charter school, and that it didn't even turn into an interview. Um, anyway, the interview didn't even come to fruition. I showed up at the school and had to wait because the principal was meeting with a parent, and I was waiting and waiting, and I just left because I waited for like 40 minutes, and he never came back out. And so, and I just left and said, can we reschedule? And I never heard from that person again. So, just very strange. Just like nothing was falling into place. It was crickets. Everything just seemed like it just wasn't going to happen. And you know how the enemy will put things, in your mind about, well, you're getting older, and they're probably not going to hire you as an admin if you don't get one now, and just kind of that kind of stuff. And then I remember I was at my parents' house, and I was, discouraged, and I was talking to my mom, and I said it almost makes me feel like I shouldn't have got my, certification. And she's like, don't say that. She's like, don't say that. When the time is right, something would happen. And so at that time, I had transferred from being in the math department for the district to being in technology. And I liked being a tech design coach. And so I said, well, you know what? I like this job. I'm just going to just stay here and just, I like this job. And so I'm going to stay here until something opened up that's right. And I just let go. It's like I let go, and I just gave it to God and was like, when the time is right, it'll happen. And lo and behold, I get a DM on Twitter at the time. It was still called Twitter. I got a DM from a gentleman that I knew because I used to be in the math department, and he worked with the math team at this campus that he was on. He sends me a DM and says, "Hey, I see that you got um, your principal certification. I'm getting ready to leave my job to go work somewhere else. I think you should apply for the assistant principal position at the school I'm at." And I said no at first because I was like, I like where I'm at. I don't know if I'm ready to move yet. He's like, okay. He goes, just, check it out, see about it. And I was like, okay, thank you for reaching out to me. And that was the end of that conversation. Well, apparently he told his principal about me, that I would be a good candidate, that I should, interview. So the principal called me himself and was like, hey, I've been given your name by a couple of people, but I don't see where you filled out an application or anything like that. And I said, because I haven't filled out an application. I'm enjoying the job that I'm in now. And he said, well, why don't you just come and interview with us and just see how you like it, before you just completely say no before you knock it. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough, right? Because I was already just kind of like, oh well, I like where I'm at. So I go to the interview. It's a panel interview, so there's like 6 people in the room, and I do the interview. I leave the interview, and I'm like, I like the feel on that campus. I like the culture. I like, meeting the students when I came in. And I was like, I really started missing me on a campus. And so then I left the interview and I was like, man, now I'm really like hoping I'm getting that position. And my mom was like, you got that job, right? And I was like, I don't feel that confident. I'm glad you feel that confident and speak it into me, but I didn't feel that confident. Um, but anyway, so I just kind of gave it to God. I was still feeling anxious though, because I was like, oh, I kind of really want this job now. And now I'm back to feeling anxious. So lo and behold, I got called for the position. And here it is, 8 years later. I am now the principal of that same campus. And I just want to say that I wasn't even looking for this job. And so when I say what's for you is for you, right? Like I had just given it to God and be like, well, when the time is right. And I kid you not, it might have been about 2 weeks. It wasn't a long time. And when I got the DM from the gentleman that was like, hey, you should apply for this job, the job came to me, y'all. The job came to me. I was sitting there on my porch and I was like, it came to me. So when something is for you, it's for you. And there's nothing that can block it. There's no distraction that can get in the way. You can even say no. I said no at first. And I still got another call from somebody else um, asking me to interview for that job. So I just want to say that whatever you are believing God for, whatever you are feeling weary about, or you're feeling tired about, or you're like, I've been praying and nothing's happening, like just step back, loose the control, and just give it to God. And when the time is right, it's like it says in Isaiah, I think it's 66. I know it's Isaiah chapter 66. I don't know the verse, but when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And when it's for you, it's for you. I think about when Samuel went to um, Jesse's house to anoint David. And Jesse had all his sons around there, and they just left poor David out in the field, just left him out there. And Samuel knew, he said, this is all your sons? Don't you have one more? And Jesse was like, well, my youngest is out here. And he's like, bring him in. Like Samuel would not leave until he saw every single Jesse's sons. And David was the one that he anointed to be king, because that's the one who God wanted. Like, so when something is for you, it's for you. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. Um, you can even say no to it and it's still going to be for you. So I just want you to rest in that tonight, and have a wonderful evening. And I hope that encouraged you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.